Chapter 117. Night. Yi Tian finally became idle, and only then did he remember the high-level soul transfer talent he had copied. Fusion, Yi Tian thought. Rumble. The terrifying soul metamorphosis began. At this moment, Yi Tian felt as if his soul was being kneaded and transformed back and forth by an inexplicable energy. It was very painful. This pain was different from the pain of the body, but an indescribable pain. It was very uncomfortable, but Yi Tian could only endure it, and gritted his teeth without making a sound, so as not to wake up Yi Yu. 10 minutes passed. The fusion ended, and Yi Tian successfully fused the high-level soul transfer talent. He subconsciously took a look at his talent situation, and suddenly saw the talent that had just been fused. Soul transfer talent, advanced. Soul transfer? Is it possible to allow one's soul to be transferred to another place or thing? Yi Tian guessed. Immediately, his consciousness gradually immersed itself in the sea of souls, and he found the imprints of talent hidden in the depths of his soul. Soon, he found the point of light represented by the soul transfer talent, and his consciousness blended into it and read some information. This is a method that he only learned about a while ago, and it is the best way to understand talent as quickly as possible, without having to try it a little. The soul transfer talent turned out to be this. Yi Tian was shocked. It's too perverted and weird. The so-called soul transfer is the transfer of one's own soul to the body of another living being, erasing the soul of the other person, and one's own soul occupies the other person's body. What's even more rebellious is that you can use the bodies of other creatures to cast various talents, because the talent imprint exists in the soul. But the level of talent may be lowered, and there is no way to reach the level of talent of the body. If the occupied body is killed, the soul will be transferred back, but it will be traumatized, and it will take some time to recover. Of course, the soul transfer talent also has a limit. Once activated, it can only occupy the opponent's body for a month, and the cooldown time takes a year. This is the ability of a high-level soul transfer talent. If it is a top-level soul transfer talent, it may be able to occupy the opponent's body for a longer time, and the cooldown time may be shorter. But Yi Tian only has a high-level soul transfer talent, and it is estimated that there is no hope for him to be promoted to the level of a top-level soul transfer talent, because this talent is really rare. In this case, that golden spirit giant ape is not dead? No, it shouldn't be the golden spirit giant ape. The golden spirit giant ape should be the body occupied by the other party with the high soul transfer talent, and the monster had to escape, and he had to fight with Yun Mengli to the death. Yi Tian was completely enlightened. Occupy a body for a month, and have a cooldown period of a year. This talent has to be put to good use. Yi Tian secretly planned. In the next few days, the high-level leaders of the Demon Sea base began to distribute rewards. Every great martial artist, grandmaster, and king who contributed to the army received rich rewards. The scenes on the battlefield were also recorded by the projection equipment of the Demon Sea base, and then the fierce beast meat, fierce beast blood, and other rewards were distributed according to merit. As for the warriors who died in battle, the rewards were doubled, and the others did not have any opinions. Yi Tian naturally reaped many rewards, among which the king beast he killed was also sent to his villa. It's just that the corpse of the king beast was too big, so he could only sell it in exchange for a lot of money. What Yi Tian didn't know was that the powerful king-level existences of the Demon Sea Great Base had been busy in the past few days, rushing to the other two big bases to help them repel the beast tide. Yun Mengli even cooperated with the invincible king level of other large bases, and killed 2 invincible king level leaders. The crisis of the 3 major bases was lifted, and the beast tide receded. This day, Yi Tian was cultivating at home, and Yu Ling, the ancestor of the Yu family, came to visit in person. Lord Yu Ling. Yi Tian saw this king level existence and said with respect, Yi Tian Xiaoyu don't have to be polite. Xiaoyu can kill the king beast. Although it is not a king level, it is enough to intersect with my king level peers. If you don't dislike it, just call me Brother Yu. Yu Ling said happily. Can he not be happy? Yi Tian's talent will inevitably be able to become an invincible king level in the future, and the relationship between the Yu family and Yi Tian is very good. He will have to rely on Yi Tian in the future, so he naturally has to make good friends with Yi Tian, and the so-called king-level shelf naturally cannot be used on Yi Tian. Brother Yu, what are you looking for from me? Wouldn't you just come to get to know me? Yi Tian was curious. I'm here to see you for the royal meeting. Yu Ling said. Invite me? Yi Tian was surprised. Yes. Yu Ling said seriously, it is true that I invited you, but it was not me who invited you, but the high-level kings of the Demon Sea Great Base. You slashed a king beast with 2 swords, and your strength has been recognized by them, and even King Mengli has recognized your identity. When to attend? Yi Tian also wanted to participate in the circle of the king level. Only in this way could he learn more secrets, and even the news of the super base might be known. Otherwise, if a person does not join any circle, there is absolutely no way to quickly improve his strength. Tomorrow, at 10 o'clock in the morning, the 10th floor of the Yunjia Cloud Tower. Yu Ling handed the invitation to Yi Tian, and immediately talked a few words before leaving. The circle of the king level. I didn't expect me to enter so quickly. Yi Tian pinched the invitation card and smiled slightly. Overnight practice. The next day, Yi Tian came to the Yun family on time. At this time, he saw an acquaintance, Yun Feng. Yun Feng also entered the Grand Master at this time. With the strength of his top-level wind blade talent, he was a very powerful existence among the Grand Masters, and his speed was also very good, reaching a medium level. He was expected to be invincible to the Grand Master in the future, but it would take time, more than 10 or even 20 years. After only glancing at Yun Feng, Yi Tian withdrew his gaze and entered the Cloud Tower under the leadership of the Yun family's servants. The Cloud Tower is not accessible to ordinary people, only the king level can enter. Yun Feng noticed Yi Tian, and when Yi Tian entered the Cloud Tower, he grabbed the servant and asked, "Who was that just now?" I looked at Grandmaster Yakai. Why did he enter the Cloud Tower? Seeing that it was young Master Yunfeng, who had been in the limelight recently, the servant hurriedly said respectfully, "Young Master Yunfeng, that person is the invincible Grandmaster Yi Tian." "It's him," Yunfeng exclaimed. The news of Yi Tian's killing of the king beast had already spread throughout the entire Demon Sea base, and he naturally knew about it for a long time. But he didn't have any fear, but was full of fighting spirit. He firmly believed that after he reached the ultimate of the Grand Master, he would also be able to kill a king beast. Go back and cultivate. I want to become stronger, Yun Feng said secretly in his heart. Entering the Cloud Tower, Yi Tian came to the 10th layer. As soon as he entered the hall on the 10th floor, a series of eyes swept in. Yi Tian saw the martial artists in the hall, and their cultivation was obvious. It's all king level. He is the only one who is a Grand Master, which seems a bit different. Chapter 118. I've seen you. Yi Tian hugged his fist and said hello. Above, Yun Mengli glanced at Yi Tian, nodded slightly, and said, "Little brother Yi, sit at will." Yi Tian nodded, found a seat in the back, and sat down. The other kings didn't pay too much attention to Yi Tian. After all, Yi Tian was just a Grand Master. Although he had king-level combat power, it was only comparable to a not very powerful king level. A real king-level powerhouse was not at all imaginable at Yi Tian's level. Before Yi Tian really grew up, they wouldn't pay too much attention to Yi Tian. One king after another, there were almost 60 kings gathered in the hall. Yi Tian sat there, not saying a word, but secretly spying on everyone's talents. Most of them are transcendental-level cultivation talents, and only a few king-level talents, such as Yu Ling, are top-level cultivation talents, so they should be promoted by luck. As for the Morning Star cultivation talent, there is not a single one. Yi Tian was not surprised by this at all. If they had the Morning Star level cultivation talent, they might have easily broken the bottleneck of the king level limit and been promoted to the next level. Another half an hour had passed, and the number of kings had reached 73. It can be said that the king level of the Demon Sea base had basically arrived. Originally, there should have been more kings in the Demon Sea base, but the war that just ended made the Demon Sea base sacrifice a lot of kings, so the number of people was only 73. If Yi Tian was not counted, it would only be 72. When the personnel arrived, Yun Mengli began, "Everyone, this time the meeting is to discuss the matter of the spatial crack 30,000 kilometers away. Although our 3 major bases have now repelled the beast tide and killed 3 invincible king beasts, for the fierce beasts, this loss is nothing at all. The foundation of the fierce beasts is too strong, and the birth of our human vitality has only gone through more than 100 years now, and the background naturally cannot be compared with the fierce beasts. If there is no suppression of the world, the real terrible existence of the fierce beasts would have come to the earth long ago, erasing us human beings. The kings below nodded one by one, agreeing with Yun Mengli's statement. Humans are indeed too weak, and the more they know about the side of the beasts, the more shocked they are by their strength. The gap between the two sides is too big. Yun Mengli continued, if we don't deal with that spatial rift, the fierce beasts will continue to send down more invincible king beasts, and the beast tide will still break out. I have discussed with the invincible king level of the other 2 large bases, and the 3 large bases have joined forces to prepare to seal the spatial crack. Seal the spatial rift? Can this be done? A king level wondered. Yes, Yun Mengli affirmed. The super base has developed a top-level large array, which can block the void and suppress spatial cracks, but it can only suppress spatial cracks of 3 stars or below. It is powerless for spatial cracks above 3 stars. And the space crack 60,000 kilometers away is only a 3-star space crack after exploration, and it can only let the invincible king beast come over at most, and it can only send 2 or 3. Otherwise, our 3 major bases can't stop the beast tide at all. The super base has actually researched a top-level array to suppress the 3-star level. Many kings were shocked. Yi Tian was a little confused when he heard this, and he didn't speak, but he quickly learned about the division of the spatial crack level from the conversations of other kings. Originally, the space crack is divided into star ratings according to its size, spatial coercion, and the level of strong individuals it can allow to pass through. The space crack like the one that appeared in the secret realm last time is not given a star rating. That is, it's a 0-star space crack, at most it's connected to a secret realm, and it's impossible to connect to the beast world. Further up are 1-star, 2-star, and 3-star space cracks. As for the 4-star and 5-star space cracks, it is simply not something that the king can imagine. It is a space crack that can only be guarded by super bases. 100 years ago, when the space rift first appeared, it was basically a 1-star space rift, otherwise the human race would have been wiped out long ago. Moreover, space cracks will slowly escalate over time, and even grow to 2-star, 3-star, or even 4-star space cracks, and most of the current high-star space cracks are slowly growing. If the spatial rift 60,000 kilometers away is allowed to slowly grow into a 4-star spatial rift, a large number of invincible king beasts will appear at that time, and even existences above the king beast will descend. At that time, the great base of the demon sea will be easily pushed sideways and disappear from the earth. So, the spatial rift must be suppressed and sealed. Dream of the king, the top-level array is not so easy to arrange. And it is also a top-level array that can suppress 3-star spatial cracks. It must be the top level of the top-level array. And the top-level array can be arranged so simply as far as the general top-level array. Besides, there must be a formation mage to arrange the big array, and the level of that top formation master in our Demon Sea Great Base is not that high. That's good. Yun Mengli admitted, the top-level formation that can suppress the 3-star spatial crack is not so easy to arrange. Even if there are design drawings and materials, it is impossible to successfully arrange it with the top-level formation master of our Demon Sea Great Base. But there are a total of 4 top-level formation masters, 50 high-level formation masters, hundreds of middle-level formation masters, and thousands of low-level formation masters in the 3 large bases. These formation masters together are enough to arrange such a top-level formation. Unite all the array mages and divide labor and cooperate? This is hopeful for arranging a top-level array. The kings nodded. Suddenly, Yun Mengli said in a deep voice, however, the fierce beasts will not let us easily arrange a top-level large array. They will definitely attack us, and our task is to stop the fierce beasts and allow the array mages to arrange a top-level large array with peace of mind. King Mengli, we must beat the fierce beast back to the side of the spatial crack, so that they don't have the slightest chance to destroy the layout of the top-level array. A group of kings said one after another. Good. Yun Mengli nodded with satisfaction, and immediately announced, 6 days later, the materials for arranging the top-level array will basically be collected. Then we will immediately go to the space crack, otherwise it will change later. In case the fierce beast side sends 3 more invincible king beasts, we will be in trouble. This time, the invincible king beast is not strong, it should be just a temptation. The invincible king beast sent next time may be the kind of invincible king beast that is incomparably against the sky, and that kind of invincible king beast is not something I can deal with. When mentioning the invincible king beast against the sky, Yun Mengli's eyes flashed with a hint of surprise, and Yu Tian and even many kings noticed it. Apparently, Yun Mengli had encountered such an invincible king beast, and he should have encountered it at the super base. At the end of the meeting, many of the kings left. Yi Tian returned to his residence, taking advantage of the time of the past few days to cultivate well. As for the remaining copy opportunity, he was not in a hurry to use it for the time being, and he would wait for 6 days later. In a flash, 6 days passed. Chapter 119. After going through a battle, my cultivation speed has increased a lot, and my body strength has reached 16 elephant strength. After Yi Tian tested his strength, he was very satisfied. If a normal Grandmaster wants to improve from the power of 1.5 elephants when he first broke through the Grandmaster to the power of 16 elephants, he can't do it in a few years or even more than 10 years. Even if he is an extraordinary level talent, it will take a year to be able to do it. And Yi Tian's real cultivation time in the Grandmaster realm was less than 2 months, and such an increase in strength can only be described as terrifying. Didi! A message came from the liaison. Yi Tian glanced at it and knew that it was time for Yun Mengli's notification. Yi Tian went as a king-level combat force this time, not as a formation mage. He is only an intermediate formation mage, and his accumulation is far inferior to other intermediate formations. There are few formations, and it doesn't play a role in participating in the layout of the top array, so it is better to resist the fierce beast as a king-level combat force. Little blood, let's go together. Yi Tian was going to take Xiao Shui to the space rift. After all, he didn't want to expose his flying talent. If he showed too much talent, it would easily arouse the suspicion of others, so he wanted to take Xiao Shui. As for whether Xiao Shui will be recognized, Yi Tian is not worried. In his opinion, the dragons of the Shi-Ri level bloodline talent were completely beyond the reach of Yun Mengli and these king-level talents, and it was impossible for them to know Little Blood. So, there's no need to worry. Besides, if you are really afraid that Xiao Shui's identity will be exposed, won't you never dare to go out with Xiao Shui in the future? One man and one beast came to the east of the Demon Sea base. Outside the base, one by one, king levels volleyed in the air. Then, Yi Tian also came out and flew into the air on Little Blood. Yi Xiaoyu! A figure flew over. It was Yu Ling. Brother Yu! Yi Tian hugged his fists. Yi Xiaoyu's beast pet is very extraordinary. I don't even know it, but it is somewhat similar to the legendary dragon. Could it be a dragon beast? Yu Ling looked at Xiao Shui and said in surprise. Xiao Shui heard Yu Ling's words and snorted a few times to express his dissatisfaction. He was a pure-blooded dragon, and he was actually said by Yu Ling to be a dragon beast with a low bloodline. Yi Tian touched Xiao Shui's head, calmed it, and immediately said to Yu Ling, "Yes, Little Blood is indeed a dragon beast, and his strength is also quite good." Yu Ling smiled and said, "I originally thought that Yi Xiaoyu wouldn't be able to fly, and I was going to fly you over, but now it seems that it is unnecessary." The two chatted for a while. Suddenly, Yi Tian asked, "Brother Yu, do you know the situation of the super base?" He really wanted to know about the super base, so he took this opportunity to ask the king-level Yu Ling. Hearing the name of the super base, Yu Ling said with a solemn face, "The super base is very mysterious. I heard that it is in the depths of Huasha, and our Demon Sea base was actually on the coast of the East China Sea in the past, but the Earth has become too much bigger, which causes us to be extremely far away from the ocean. The population of the super base is not simply much larger than ours, but their strength is more than one level higher than ours. I don't know the specific situation, after all, I haven't been in the super base. But I've heard King Mengli mention that with the strength of King Mengli's Invincible King, he can't even rank in the super base. Invincible King level is not ranked." Yi Tian was shocked, and only then did he understand the horror of the super base. Of course, he also yearned for the super base even more, as only there could he copy a higher level of cultivation talent. It didn't take long for the king levels to basically arrive. Yun Mengli waved his big hand. "Let's go." Woohoo! A king level sliced through the void and headed for the spatial rift, and the speed was many times faster than the so-called wind boat. 60,000 kilometers seemed like a long way away, but soon the kings came to the place of the spatial rift. He saw that there were still a lot of fierce beasts gathered in the cracks in the space, and there were also many king beasts, but there were no invincible king beasts. Yun Mengli didn't rush to order the cleanup of these fierce beasts, but spoke, "Let's wait for the arrival of the people from the other two big bases." About 10 minutes or so passed, and the king levels and array mages of the other two large bases came. Qing Base, Shenzhen Hangzhou Base. These are the names of the two large bases. Their strength is not weaker than the Demon Sea Base, but their population is less than the Demon Sea Base. After the arrival of the kings of the two large bases, two kings greeted Yun Mengli. From Yu Ling's mouth, Yi Tian knew the identities of these two kings. They were Li Qing of the Qing Base, Qing Wang, and Zhao Blood of the Shenong Base, Blood King. The two of them were also invincible kings, and they had lived to be the current kings since the disaster 100 years ago. "King Mengli, are the materials ready?" the Blood King asked. "It's ready, and there's still a surplus. Don't worry about the materials." Yun Mengli said, "Let's get started," Qing Wang said. Immediately, the array mages began to disperse, and began to arrange top-level large arrays within a radius of thousands of miles, enveloping the area of the spatial rift. The other king-level powerhouses were responsible for guarding these array mages, and Yi Tian was also responsible for guarding many junior array mages. As for the three invincible kings, they approached the spatial rift and hunted the king beasts frantically. Rumble. The battle began. The king beasts seemed to know what the humans were going to do, and they attacked the kings frantically. From the side of the spatial rift, one king beast after another, as well as a large number of top-level fierce beasts, continued to pour in. The fierce battle had begun. "Lord Yi Tian, I'm in trouble." More than a dozen junior formation mages hugged their fists. Yi Tian nodded lightly, and guarded these junior array mages with little blood. Although they were not of much use, they were also a part of the top-level array, and there could be no problems. Roar! 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 One top fierce beast after another rushed towards Yi Tian. Yi Tian held a high-grade Yuan Force knife weapon and waved it continuously, and one top fierce beast died under Yi Tian's knife. And Little Blood was more shameless. Taking advantage of Yi Tian's hunting of fierce beasts, he secretly began to collect the blood of fierce beasts and put it in his storage bag, claiming, "Don't waste it." As if they couldn't finish killing, the top-level fierce beasts kept coming, and even Yi Tian felt tricky. "Yi Xiaoyu, there is a king beast that has gone to your side. You delay for a while, and when I hunt this beast, I will help you." A king-level voice came. Yi Tian knew that the king level was a relatively powerful king level. Boom! 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 The ground shook, and a huge crocodile with a height of 100 meters crawled over, its ferocity pervasive. More than a dozen junior array mages trembled a little, obviously suppressed by this fierce beast. "Don't get distracted. Continue to arrange the formation," Yi Tian reminded. The formation mages gathered their minds again and continued to arrange the formation. Yi Tian was also about to call back Little Blood, who was frantically collecting the blood of the fierce beast and devouring the blood of the fierce beast. Xiao Shui's growth rate is very fast, and now he is not weaker than him, and he can also fight with the king level with the help of a talent. "Little Blood, you protect these array mages. I'll kill that crocodile," Yi Tian telepathically transmitted to Xiao Shui. Chapter 120. Xiao Shui received Yi Tian's order and flew over to guard the array mages who were arranging the formation. And Yi Tian faced the crocodile. Species: Megalodon crocodile. Bloodline talent: extraordinary. The name has a dragon character. It should be a fierce beast with dragon blood, but it's a pity that the talent is too wasteful, and there is no special talent. Yi Tian completely looked down on this giant-toothed dragon crocodile, but the strength of this dragon crocodile was not weak. Rumble. Under a collision, Yi Tian estimated the strength of the other party. About 3,000 elephants, Yi Tian judged. However, it is much weaker compared to his strength. And now, Yi Tian's body strength is 16 elephant power, and after 2 times the Yuan power, 6 times the Qingfeng slash, and 30 times the pseudo-mystery level strength talent increase, his attack power has reached 5,760 elephant power. A mere 3,000 elephant-powered megalodon crocodile is really not enough to see. Boom! 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 Under the collision again and again, the megalodon crocodile was beaten backwards, and there were more and more wounds on its body. A minute later, Yi Tian completely killed this giant-toothed dragon crocodile. Just after Yi Tian killed the giant-toothed dragon crocodile, a king level appeared beside Yi Tian. Yi Xiaoyu, you actually killed the giant-toothed dragon crocodile king beast. He was the one who had just transmitted the message to Yi Tian. He had expected Yi Tian to stop and delay, but he never thought that Yi Tian would be so fierce that he would actually kill the giant-toothed dragon crocodile king beast. When the megalodon crocodile king beast broke through his interception, he knew that the strength of this megalodon crocodile was weaker than him, but it was not too weak. Even if he wanted to kill the toothed dragon crocodile, it would take some effort. And Yi Tian was able to kill the toothed dragon crocodile, which was enough to prove that Yi Tian's strength was not weaker than him. Fluke, Yi Tian said modestly. How can there be a fluke in strength? The king shook his head. Don't say it, I'll continue to resist the fierce beasts over there. Yi Tian also continued to guard this area. And Xiao Blood ran over and collected the beast blood of the megalodon crocodile. Because the giant-toothed crocodile's fierce beast blood has a thin dragon blood, for little blood, the giant-toothed crocodile's fierce beast blood is more than 10 times better than the ordinary king beast fierce beast blood. It's gone, Xiao Blood said excitedly while collecting the blood of the fierce beast. This time, it collected all the blood of the fierce beasts above the top level, and there was no shortage of king-level fierce beast blood, among which there were many king beasts killed by others, and its fierce beast blood was also shamelessly collected by it. The kings present all knew that Xiao Blood was Yi Tian's beast pet, and it was difficult to say anything. Time passed slowly. Yi Tian didn't know how many fierce beasts he had killed, and he was continuing to kill, when suddenly a sound filled the entire Qianli area. The big array has been completed. The array mages have withdrawn from the big array, and all the king-level beasts have been driven back to the spatial crack. The big array has been completed. The array mages have withdrawn from the big array, and all the king-level beasts have been driven back to the spatial crack. The big array has been completed. The array mages have withdrawn from the big array, and all the king-level beasts have been driven back to the spatial crack. There were 3 voices in a row, and it was a notice from the 3 invincible kings. The top array has been formed? Yi Tian breathed a sigh of relief. This means that the plan of the 3 major bases has been completed, and this spatial rift can finally be contained. Phew! A king level, killing frenzied, gradually headed towards the spatial rift. Meanwhile, the top-level array was slowly launched, and the power of the formation in the underworld imprisoned this void, and imprisoned one fierce beast after another. The fierce beasts below the top-level fierce beasts had almost no power to resist, and the strength of the top-level fierce beasts was weakened by 80%, and the strength of the king beasts was also weakened by as much as 50%. In such a situation, the human kings are almost slaughtering fierce beasts, and no matter how many fierce beasts come out, they will also be slaughtered. Yi Tian and Xiao Shui killed all the way over, and gradually approached the spatial rift. Then, Yi Tian was suddenly overjoyed. His copying talent had been open and probing. Just now, a king-level talent appeared on his retina. Human. Li Zhenbei. Bloodline talent. Extraordinary. Knife talent. Advanced. It turned out to be a high-level sword talent. Yi Tian has always wanted to copy a high-level sword talent, because he has already copied 2 high-level sword talents. If he copies another one, he can be fused and promoted to a top-level sword talent. It's a pity that he hasn't encountered any other high-level sword skills in the Demon Sea Great Base, but now he has encountered this king-level person. This king level is not the king level of the Demon Sea Great Base, but a king-level powerhouse of one of the other 2 major bases. Before, the people of the 3 bases were separated by more than 1,000 meters, and he had no way to check the talent of the other party. If it wasn't for this time he happened to cover the other party, otherwise he would really miss it. There's one more chance to copy. Copy. Yi Tian did not hesitate to copy the other party's high-level sword talent. Copy successfully, continue to kill the beast. It seemed that he knew that nothing could be done, and the spatial rift no longer gushed out fierce beasts, and many fierce beasts began to slowly withdraw to the other end of the spatial rift. Soon, a large number of king-level people converged at the spatial rift to kill the last of the beasts. Just as the beasts were about to be killed, a mutation protruded. An unimaginable aura of terror spread from the other side of the spatial rift. Feeling this breath, even the king level was suppressed to the point that his strength was not 1 in 10. Only the 3 invincible kings can barely compete with this breath. That's. Yi Tian saw a pair of eyes through the crack in the space, which were a pair of golden eyes, like the eyes of a supreme god, full of supreme majesty and indifference. HMPH, no matter how strong you are, it's not like you can't step into our world. Yun Mengli snorted coldly. Humph! A faint voice echoed in the void. It was the voice of the supreme being at the end of the spatial rift. This beast can talk! This was the knee-jerk reaction of all kings. Soon, the golden eyes disappeared, and everyone breathed a sigh of relief. In the face of such a terrifying existence, there is no one who is not afraid. What level is that fierce beast? It can actually penetrate the spatial crack and descend on our Earth. It should be an existence above the king level, right? Said a king level, frightened. It's not just above the king level, but an existence beyond at least 2 great realms. Yun Mengli said solemnly, beyond the 2 great realms, everyone could no longer imagine what level of existence this was. It was too far away from them. The top-level array was arranged, but the spatial crack did not disappear, but only slowly shrunk. The spatial rift, which was originally hundreds of meters high, was getting smaller, and when it was only about 20 meters long, it stopped changing. The top-level large array can only suppress the spatial crack, and it is impossible for the spatial crack to disappear completely. But now this spatial crack should only be of a 1-star level. At most, some high-level fierce beasts will be sent, so there is nothing to be afraid of. But next, we still have to send some king-level and array mages to guard here and stabilize the top-level array. Who wants to stay? Yun Mengli asked. For the first time, Yi Tian stood up and said, King Mengli, I am willing to guard here for a while. I not only have king-level combat power, but also an intermediate array mage, which should be of some use. Yun Mengli took a deep look and nodded with satisfaction. Very good. Then count yourself as one. The other kings only thought that Yi Tian had a strong sense of responsibility, but they didn't know that Yi Tian had his own plans. He glanced faintly at the spatial rift, and a smile appeared on the corner of his mouth.